Hi, and welcome to the Thunder Blunder edition of Eating Scripture, a response to this Sunday's Gospel in 4 minutes or fewer. I'm Drew Downs, your host, and this week is Proper 24b, and our text continues in Mark 10. Now remember, after last week's Gospel story about the rich young man, we had that story about piety and wealth and poverty. Well, the lectionary skips over a small piece, and that's the third time that Jesus foretells his death. And it goes straight to the third time in which the disciples screw up. And this time, it's the brothers Zebedee, known as the sons of thunder, James and John. This is our Thunder Blunder. Well, in some ways it seems to be. But there are two aspects that I'm most interested in: leadership and hierarchy, that seem to be coming out of this. The two brothers go to Jesus and say, "We want to be your right-hand men." Right and left-hand men. We want to share as a pair, which is actually a demonstration of understanding Jesus' understanding of leadership and commitment and ministry. Right. So they're actually embodying a sense of ministry that is very much what Jesus would want. And they're saying, "Let's go do this. We're ready." And Jesus doesn't condemn them. He simply says, you may be ready to come do this, but it's not your time. Right. I'm going to go die by myself. You get to go die later, right? After I'm dead, you get to die for your ministry later, right? So that's the undercurrent in that one. But there's also another sense of leadership that comes up in the second part, where the disciples are the ones that seem to screw up because they're focused on hierarchy, right? The hierarchy of servant leadership, right, at the one hand, and the first shall be last, the last shall be first, which we heard about before, right? This element of overturning the current order and this sort of race to the bottom, right? To be first, you got to be last. So the disciples are sort of focused on trying to drive each other to that bottom space so that they can be first, right? And that's a very natural tendency. But I'm curious about this idea that Jesus seems to be using this reverse psychology on it and this reverse system to break the system, right? So therefore, the system itself is the problem. So first and last is the problem, right? So there's what he wants, what we should all want then is for all of us to be last, right? So the question is about the idea of being a slave, about being a servant, right? That we look at it and say, we see the slave and we see the master, right? But if the pressure is for us to be slaves, right, for us to be the servants, then none of us gets to be the master, right? That's what breaks the hierarchy. One of the troubles we have, and this might be a space where we tend to operate, is we want ourselves, or we like to take on that master role. And so we look at how other people are being servants. Are you servant enough? Right? Are you doing enough? Are you subjecting yourself enough? Well, that's not the issue. It's, am I doing it? Are we all there? How can we all get there? It's not to try and reinforce slavery or clericalism or any of that stuff, right? It's to actually support a non-hierarchical understanding of committed team leadership. For more, check out my site, drewdowns.net. So go, munch on it, and proclaim it. Peace.